Welcome to the Monique Guiled Method Show, where business meets science and intuition on WGSO 990 AM and streaming live on WGSO.com. Monique Guild's unique technique leverages her cutting-edge and no-nonsense approach to evaluate you, your business, and your projects, to see and pinpoint blocks, and as a futurist, she has the know-how to catapult your business to the next level. So call in with your questions to 504-556-9696. And now, here's the host, Monique Guile.
Hello, and welcome to the Monique Guile Method radio show. I am so excited you all are joining me, and you please feel free to call in 504-556-9696. I love helping people get on track in their business and career lives. Anything that may have you stuck or blocked, or you're just figuring out what to do next and how to create what's next. I've been the go-to person around the world that has worked with, family businesses to, you name it. 2016 presidential election, I was behind the scenes with that. And I love helping people who are off track somehow have gotten off track, or they've been on track and all of a sudden they've hit some sort of curveball. And so today I'm going to talk about my friend Dr. John Gray, who wrote the book Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. And I was speaking to him several years ago, and he was telling me a story about Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, and how it came to be. And in our conversation, I learned that I had no idea that he went through so many major, seemingly insurmountable obstacles. First of all, his wife, who was promoting the book with him on tour, ended up leaving him for another man. I mean, here they are, promoting this whole relationship book and this whole thing, and she ends up running off with another guy. I mean, I can't even imagine. That's like your worst nightmare, I would imagine. Not, in this particular situation. And so when he told me that, I thought, oh my God, that's crazy. And then his brother commits suicide, and his dad, it's either his brother committed suicide and his dad was murdered, or the other way around. And, but just horrendous personal obstacles that he had to overcome, stay focused, and keep going no matter what was happening around him. I mean, personal relationships, especially of the heart, affairs of the heart, oh my God, they can be the biggest obstacles or blocks from our businesses and careers. I just can't even, I don't even know how to stress it enough. And the reason being is the heart stuff, the stuff that pulls at our, heartstrings, is the most powerful. They say, what is it about, domestic violence? It's just people who have these arguments and are, it's the affairs of the heart that are so powerful. So, going through, he went through, and then to have his brother and his father, it was so much that was happening to him. And then on top of it, the day, I don't know if you guys remember the Phil Donahue show, but the day that he was booked on Phil Donahue to promote the book, 9/11 happened. And so he had these enormous worldly obstacles and personal on top of it. And my philosophy is as big as the obstacles are, is as big as the gift is that is about to be delivered on the other side. And I've seen it time and time again. I've worked with people I had my first write-up in the LA Times. I was featured on the cover of the Metro section of the LA Times, many years ago, 1992. And that was the beginning of my business percolating and launching. And it actually launched in 2000. But I've done this for so many years, and I've seen time and time again, when person or companies are going through major obstacles, it's just telling me that company or person hasn't grown beyond their neurological past. They're staying stuck, and we attract situations into our lives that are atomically frequency specific to where we are internally. So these internal obstacles are so huge and have such an impact on our lives. And then when you put the external world on top of it, it can be really explosive. But I know beyond a shadow of a doubt, because I've done it over and over and over and over again, in every magical situation. You can read about it on my website at www.Monique, MoniqueGuild.com. And you'll see there all the different things that I've gone through and helped people with and all that sort of thing. So anyway, so here he was. He was supposed to be on Phil Donahue. 9/11 happens. And if all this wasn't enough, he was so looked down upon and so criticized for his book for so long. Like, people thought he was out of his mind, thinking like his concepts were ridiculous, of men being different than women. I mean, like, thinking about it now and where we are now in 2021, and to think that people used to think that there was such an enormous difference between men and women, and that there was not, is so, I don't know how to wrap my head around that, so I won't. But anyway, so call in. Please feel free to call in 504-556-9696. And I'd love to help you get on track with anything that's going on with you. But eventually what ended up happening with John is that he was rebooked on the Phil Donahue show. But when he was rebooked, they did not tell him that there was going to be a panel of experts there that were going to be there to prove him wrong. Their whole goal was to make him look like an idiot on national television. And he had no clue that this was about to hit him. So I just can't even imagine walking on stage and all of a sudden Phil Donahue introduces him and says, oh, by the way, these are our panel of experts that want to disagree with you, and not having any idea or being prepared for this sort of thing. But no matter what, he stuck it out. He had a burning desire that was so deep inside of him. He knew he had to get his message out to the world. So he didn't care what obstacle came at him. Now, this is a guy that really pushed the envelope. I always say this to my clients. I say, when there's obstacles coming up, it could even be like depression or anger or grief or whatever it may be, any type of internal obstacles, health issues, absolutely hands down health issues, and those type of obstacles, when they're coming up, to me, it says that people have not grown beyond their neurological past. So I believe we're heading to a break right now, and I'm looking forward to picking this back up when we get back. Welcome back to the Monique Guild Method radio show here on WGSO 990 AM. I am so glad you are joining me. I'm a futurist, turnaround and development strategist. I get to work with companies and individuals and people all over the world who have somehow either want to expand and create what's next and have no idea how to do it, or somehow they become stuck or blocked in business. And I was just telling a story about my friend, Dr. John Gray, who wrote Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, and the obstacles that he had to overcome in promoting his book, Men Are From Mars, Women From Venus. And I just left off where he was on the Phil Donahue show, brought back, and he had to face a panel of experts that were there only to disprove him and to tell him how wrong he was about relationships, and not knowing that this panel was going to be there. And so, but he had a dream and a vision, and no matter what was thrown at him, he hung in there. He did not quit. And this burning desire was so deep inside of him, he absolutely knew he had to get his message out to the world, no matter what. So I want to ask you, do you have a burning desire inside of you that it's been percolating for years and years and years, and you've done nothing about it. And then all of a sudden have you noticed that through the years, more obstacles have come up in your own life, whether internally or externally, and just things, because I believe those obstacles come up that in a way they're a buffer and they become a distraction from the pain we feel from not honoring our own inside selves. And so I know beyond a shadow of a doubt, as big as those distractions are as big as, or is as big as the gift that you are going to deliver to the world. So that day when John was on the Phil Donahue show, because the experts, that panel of experts were there, he gained so much national and international attention that this was the absolute turning point in his life and with the book, because everybody wanted to see, watch this whole thing and see him combat these, panel of experts, and it gained so much recognition. And then what ended up happening, which is just so amazing, is he ended up revolutionizing the way we look at relationships. Who knew? Who knew that this would happen? And it's almost like when we have that force coming against you and all these things coming at you, and if you just stick it out and stick through it, it's almost like the veil, the bubble bursts, and you get catapulted into another dimension. And I want to ask you something. Have you ever asked yourself, how far can my business go? What are my true strengths? What should I really be doing in my career? What is my next step? And why on earth have I been so stuck? And so I want you to kind of think about that a bit, kind of contemplate that, because those questions are so important. And when you begin to answer them and get honest, that's when movement begins to happen. And what I've learned through my years of working with clients and developing new platforms and my study of neuroscience, chemistry, physics, and quantum physics is that when there's about to be significant change in the world or in someone's life, it is absolutely preceded by chaos and even tremendous doubt, the doubt that comes from the neocortex of the brain. Now, I want to speak to this for a minute, because the neocortex of the brain is beneficial to some extent. But what happens is the neocortex of the brain is the part of the brain that keeps us safe, and it's also part of the brain that keeps us stuck. And it's its job to do that. And it also keeps us in contempt prior to investigation. And what do I mean by that? It's like when you see, these people were listening to John and they thought he was ridiculous and they judged him and they thought, who is he to be this guy who thinks he knows what he's doing, with men being different than women and women are different than men and we need to treat each other differently. And so those people judging him, it's contempt prior to investigation, to not really, they didn't get in and want to understand and listen, and they just immediately judged. And so that's the neocortex part of the brain, that part of the brain, that's its job to do stuff like that, because it keeps everybody, whether it's a human being, whether it is a community, whether it is a city, a state, the nation, countries, in the same old repetitive patterns over and over again. And people wonder why things don't change. So it's really important with obstacles, the external obstacles, and with the internal obstacles to realize that it is part of the process when you are revolutionizing an industry, or you're just simply bringing your unique talents and gifts to the world. I mean, Lord knows, years ago when this whole thing started with me and they called me the bubbly Sherlock Holmes on the cover of the LA Times, And I remember when the company I was working for, the CFO, Keith Grenier, said to me, he goes, Monique, you've got a gift and you've got to do something with it. Like other people started realizing I actually have an inherited ability from my dad, and he could have a patient walk in the door and tell you everything about that person before they open their mouth. And I have an ability to know exactly what's caused a business to get stuck on an atomic and molecular level. And I know exactly what to do to turn it around. And when I started this and launched this years ago in 2000 and called myself a business intuitive, there was nobody on the internet doing this. No one saying such things. And I was terrified to go on the radio and to let people know that I get blocks of information. I'm highly intuitively guided. I get all kinds of stuff from so many different ways. And my dad's a psychiatrist. So even though he had this ability, I was so scared that he would find out that I was going to go in the media and start saying that I do all these certain abilities and, see things, hear things, all kinds of stuff. But it is what it is. I don't care if anybody likes it or not, because it is what it is. And the proof is in the pudding. I've worked with some of the most intricate, dangerous, volatile, amazing situations all over the globe. And so we all have inherited abilities, or maybe not inherited, but we all have innate abilities. And learning to hear how your intuition is guiding you and learning to trust that guidance is one of the most powerful things you could ever do. And it totally gets you out of contempt prior to investigation, because you start listening to your inside self and you stop listening to the outside world and telling you what you should or shouldn't do in your life. And you start following that inner voice, and things start to happen for you that are beyond your wildest dreams. I've seen it in my own life, and I've seen it in my clients' lives as well. So yes, it shows enormous, enormous change in operation when there are external and internal chaos. It's absolutely a part of the process, especially when you're delivering a unique message to the world. I look at Steve Jobs, or Elon Musk. I love Elon Musk. I mean, people thought he was crazy with Tesla and doing all that he did. And this is a guy who didn't study all this stuff. I mean, he studied it on his own. He didn't go to school for it or any of that. And then when he wanted to launch SpaceX, this guy he's been taunted for years and ostracized and criticized for the dreams and the visions he's had. And now, who's laughing now? I mean, the guy is the wealthiest person in the world, and he doesn't look at it that way, though. His thoughts are in, how can I evolve humanity? What can I do to change and help humanity and better the world? What are my gifts that I have that can help revolutionize the way that people drive, or the way that we he wants to open up into other planets, the way that he thinks. And he is stuck and hung in there. And I just think he is absolutely stunning and amazing. And these are the type of people I want to know. I want to know revolutionaries. I want to know disruptors. I want to know the people that have the power within themselves and the balls to step up and be who they are. Those are the people I hang with, and I want to know. So I'm welcoming you guys to this show. This is the Monique Giles Method Show. I'm so glad you're joining me. And we're here at WGSO 990 AM. And I'll talk to you after we get back from the break. Oh, I love this song, The Walker. All about revolutionizing industries and following your own instincts and intuition. This is Monique Giles, and we are here at the Monique Giles Method Radio Show. Welcome here, and looking forward to taking your callers. I understand we have a call on the phone right now, Liz from Los Angeles. And hello, Liz. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Hi, Monique. How are you? Thanks for taking my call.
Of course. It's so great to hear from you. We were just talking about the importance of really hearing our inside selves and following our gut instincts, and how Dr. John Gray revolutionized the industry with his book, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. And no matter what obstacles he encountered there, he hung in there, accomplished it, and now, lived to tell the tale. But so how are things going with you? What's going on? Tell me.
Well, things are essentially going well. And, what I have been doing is making a lot of changes in my life and in my work. It's been happening for a while. By listening, like you say, listening to that inner voice. And I feel like all of it is spirit guided. And, I tune in every day and take action according to what I hear. And so I've developed a business practice, so a private practice and an educational platform, a number of bits to it. And what I'm asking or seeking is some insight about how to scale it up. It's been a long time, coming as a side hustle, but I just know that there's so much more for me to do and so many more people to serve, and that what I'm bringing is a important insight into social, personal, political transformation. I feel like it's made for this time.
Oh, my God. Absolutely.
Yeah, so how to scale that up, how to move forward into bigger ways of expressing that. I would just love to hear how you hear that.
Yes. So first of all, are you teaching in front of people? Because I'm seeing like you on a stage, like a TEDx talk sort of situation, and you're teaching a type of philosophy or something that you coined. Like I coined the phrase, the intuitive goal workshop. It's a workshop I've taught for years, but the intuitive goal is a trademark situation I have. But there's something that you have coined or you need to trademark, or if you already have trademarked. And I'm absolutely seeing TED Talk. I'm wanting to know, are you already politically involved in your community? So if you let me know about those couple of things first. Mm-hmm.
Sure. Yeah. So I have been a professor, and I still profess, so if you see me in a classroom, that's what I'm doing. I also teach, and that's kind of the career that I shifted out of. So I'm
saying larger TEDx.
Okay.
It's TEDx platforms, like large platforms.
Right.
I'm listening.
So I have coined a methodology. It's called decolonial healing or decolonial wellness, and it's about unraveling the ways that colonial power has shaped us in terms of race, in terms of gender, in terms of sexuality, even what we think about nationalism. It's about unraveling these ways that we've learned to be separate from each other and learned to be afraid of each other, to unravel that, to come back to something more truthful about ourselves, which is, unity, which is connection, which is love. And so that comes through my academic work. I did a lot of stuff around colonial culture in my academic work.
I'm already seeing the big picture. I'm going to jump in and just cut to the chase. So,
perfect.
I'd love to see you, like in the city of Santa Monica. I'm not sure who the mayor is now, but Ted Winter was the mayor, former mayor. I would love you going in and teaching to the city council, like go immediately to the top tier political people and teaching them your methodology, so that because they have such an impact on the environments, with their political environments and everything. Because I've dealt in politics all over the world, whether it's the World Economic Forum in Geneva to the 2016 presidential election, et cetera. And I'm immediately seeing because this is such an important topic that you're talking about, but it's got to go to a way bigger platform with people who are already on larger platforms. So you begin to teach them about all these different segments that you just spoke of, and their understanding. Almost should be like a required class or a workshop or whatever you want to, however you call it. But I would say immediately go to the people already in politics and bring this to them and begin presenting this to them, and they start understanding, and then they end up, it percolates in their brains, and then they begin not speaking. I mean, you could immediately hit Santa Monica, Malibu City Council, Culver City. I don't know Culver City, but I know Malibu and Santa Monica pretty well, and any other city councils, and immediately go to the political people and start teaching this. I don't know if they already have. I could put you in touch with Ted Winter, who was mayor a couple times in Santa Monica, and you could ask him, do they ever have people come in and teach them certain things like this? And, honestly, who cares if they haven't or have not? It's time to, because what you're talking about is so important. And this is one thing I was just talking about with John Gray, that he was laughed at and scoffed at and thinking that men are different from women. And his book, and the day that he was on Phil Donahue, they ostracized him and brought a panel of experts to prove him wrong. And because they did that, he ended up getting all this national and international attention. His book shot off, like a rocket. So for you, I would immediately start thinking politics. Who do I know politically? And how can I bring this to them, meet with them one-on-one initially, let them know, and then begin to gather a group of people, and it'll go from there, and then bring it to a TED Talk for sure.
Okay.
You've got to go way big with this immediately and hit the people that are already in politics.
Yeah.
I think it's a wonderful idea. Knowing what I know and being behind the scenes of so many things, I think it's a wonderful, wonderful idea. I really do.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's wonderful. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
We have another caller coming in a few minutes, but is there anything else that I can answer for you? I think this is super exciting, what you're talking about.
Oh, I'm so glad. Grateful for the affirmation and the encouragement to go big. That's intuitively, I feel that. And I just, not trained to think that about myself.
Yeah, it's beyond go big. It's go to the people who had their hands in a lot of pies and in the areas where this education is needed.
Yes,
in my opinion.
Right. Well, with policing, for instance, it's so crucial to just get clear on these things. Yeah, absolutely.
Education is everything.
Education, so has to transform everything, how we do things. And that's like right now, that's where we're at, isn't it? Everything is changing. Thank
God.
Thank God, I know. Yeah, I guess.
Anyway, my sweet, we have one more call, or we have another caller waiting. Is there anything else I can answer for you?
I'm making a big change in my personal life and going through a lot of emotions around that, and I feel like it's connected to expansion. Do you see that? Do you feel that?
Well, it's more about when I was just talking earlier about it's the personal stuff, it's the heartstring stuff, because John, his wife, left him in the middle of promoting a relationship book with him. And as big as that obstacle was for him, is as big as the gift is that he was to deliver to the world. So any personal things that you're going through, and as tough as it may be, the flip side is as big as what you're about to deliver to the world. And it must happen. It's the flip side of it. So the more you get into that, like today, make a list of the political people or someone who you know, at least 10 people. Make a list of 10 people who either know somebody in politics in your local community, or you may already know someone. Start thinking about, start brainstorming, start writing this stuff down, and start making those phone calls and making those connections.
Okay, I will.
Anyway, here we go. We're off to okay, good. I'm so glad you called, Liz. We've got a commercial break here. Thank you all so much for joining me, the Monique Giles Method radio show here at WGSO. We're going to a commercial break, and I look forward to speaking with you when we get back. Welcome back to the Monique Giles Method radio show, and I'm your host, Monique Giles. Thank you so much for joining me here. If you'd like to call in, we've got a few more minutes left. It's 504-556-9696. I love speaking to people about their careers and businesses and what we can do next and create next. But the one thing I want to go back to is talking about John Gray, who wrote Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. And we were talking about how he revolutionized how we think about relationships. And it is so expected that he had all these tremendous, tremendous obstacles to overcome. Now, why is that? And I always like to look at everything from a scientific point of view. I'm extremely scientifically oriented. And what happens is his old reality was dissolving, which may look like chaos, but this is the time, and he is such a great and powerful example, that this was the time to stay even more focused and more in contemplation of his future and what he wanted to deliver to the world with his book, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. And what also is happening behind the scenes on a scientific level is that the atoms are discoagulating. And the reason why it's so important to stay even more focused on the new reality is it shows in a way how where the atoms will coagulate in a certain way as that correlates with the picture that you have in the frontal lobe of your brain. And so he did this over and over again, repeatedly, where he did not run to his past. He didn't go chase his wife down who left him for another man, or he didn't, he didn't run back to his past and stay in a safety zone. So many people do that, is they'll stay safe and they'll run back to their past, either in their thinking, in their body, chemically. But this is the time that when all this chaos is happening, is to stay even more focused on this dream, this vision, this gift that you have. When you have a deep burning desire in creating a new reality, this is the time to stay focused. So one of the things that happens is, like, for example, people attracting the same business partners who cause financial chaos in their lives, or partners that don't deliver, or the projects don't close on time and resentment builds, or people stay safe and they don't go beyond or grow beyond where they've ever been before. And it's all because of the fear of the unknown. It's contempt prior to investigation. It's because you can't seem to handle the obstacles that are coming your way, whether it's in your business life or whether it's in the world like John, or in his personal life. I mean, my God, his personal life was shattered on you could look at it. He's shattered in so many respects, and he just had to keep going. He stayed with it no matter flipping what. And so that's where that's where the rubber meets the road. And that's the chance to really stay focused and create what you want to do. When you have a unique message or product or project that you feel so deeply about, even if you're not sure, what is yet, or what to do yet, or what to create yet, this is the exact time to stay focused on your future reality even more so. And also ask yourself, what do you need to mentally transform so that you don't go back to your past? What do you need to change mentally about your thoughts? And if you really look at your repetitive patterns, those repetitive patterns are just coming from a neurological program that you've become chemically addicted to. So if you look at any of your patterns that you keep doing over and over and over again, that it's so easy to identify them, and it's also easy to identify the thought process that causes them, and that also lets you know what you're chemically addicted to as a result of the chemicals flowing from that neurological programming. And also ask yourself, are there repetitive situations that continue to happen that are just distractions? You get to identify that and transform that energy from distraction to creation. And as big as the distractions are, is as big as the creation is on the flip side of it, and the gift that you are going to deliver to the world. And this I know for sure, beyond a shadow of a doubt. And so in my own life, man, I have met obstacle on every imaginable level, whether it be health issues or whether it be in my own personal life, family members. People have scoffed, even my own dad, at what I do for a living. Even though I inherited it from him, He used to make fun of it. It's really hurtful stuff, but it is what it is. I have an ability. I love helping young adults. I love helping kids get on track and hear their own inside selves, because so many of the children come from families that are broken families, or destructive or distracted and not supportive. And teaching kids how to hear their inside selves no matter what is going on in their external environment is a passion of mine. And I believe so many kids have the problems that they have and the situations that they have going on in their lives, even young kids, whether it be at school, is because they're so sensitive and they haven't had somebody be there to support them and say, hey, trust your gut, trust your instincts, and what you love to do is important, and you matter, and what you want to deliver to the world, your art or your writing, or you love building log cabins, no matter what it is, it's important, and it all matters. We all matter. We all have special abilities. We all came in on this planet with special abilities, special talents that we get to deliver to the world and help the world, or just even our own family system, family dynamics, or our communities in which we live, and really learning to hear how you're being guided. And for me, meditation is really important. I journal every morning. And I'll ask myself in my journaling, there's something I'm contemplating. I'll just keep coming up with answers until I feel like a little click inside of me, and I feel excited about the possibilities. And that way I begin to know which direction to go and what steps to take. But really, the first thing to do is begin to look at any distractions in your life. If there are internal distractions, whether it's negative thinking or the complaining, or if it's even as far as substances go, drinking too much, or, using substances, cocaine, or whatever you may be doing, to take a look at all of that and say, is this getting in the way of my ability? Is this getting in the way of the gifts that I want to deliver to the world? Am I just hiding behind all this? And then there are the external distractions, which are saving other people, getting involved in crazy relationships, anything that will distract you from hearing your inside self. When you look at Steve Jobs or Elon Musk, these two guys, they stayed focused on their stuff no matter what. And you don't hear about them having crazy relationships or this or that or whatever. They were just obsessed with what they wanted to deliver to the world. They just had a deep, deep burning desire. And then, the only thing is we'll say John Gray, he had that distracted relationship. He ended up being with somebody who left him for somebody else. But how appropriate. Right in the middle of promoting a relationship book, his wife leaves him for somebody else. And it's almost like the universe is testing you and saying, how committed are you really? And he just stayed focused and stayed on it. So I really encourage you, stay with what you have, believe in yourself, even if nobody else does. People think you're crazy, you've lost your mind, like, are you kidding me? Or any of those people who, scoff at what you want to do, or those people that have contempt prior to investigation, any of those types of naysayers, let them go about their own business and be naysayers in their own lives. Don't take on their energy. You've got one life. You're here. You're here to live. You're here to experience. You're here to fall down and look silly and feel stupid and feel like you're doing it all wrong, but you get back up, you dust your knees off and your butt or whatever, and you get back up and you keep on marching. That's the only way to do it, because I promise you don't want to end up years later saying, what if? What if I just gave it a go? What if I just tried to experience? What if I had just stepped into the unknown, no matter how scary it seemed to be? I tell you one thing, for me, the scariest thing ever is staying in the known. I can't stand it. I can't do it, and I won't do it. So I truly support you. Move forward, trust yourself, This is Monique Guild with the Monique Guild Radio Show on WGSO 990 AM. I want you guys to have an incredible week. Thank you so much for joining me. And you can reach me, Monique at MoniqueGuild, GUILD.com. And I hope you guys have a super fantastic week.